A pleasant good evening from the Namoli Family Stadium. Alongside Dom Galone, I'm Connor Moore. We have a primetime matchup between the Lynn Fighting Knights and your Tampa Spartans. This is an inner Sunshine State battle with both teams currently sitting at third in the Sunshine State Conference with a 5-4 record in conference play. Dom, this should be a great game, and we have a doubleheader tomorrow, so 3 games will be played between these teams over a course of 24 hours.
Yeah, this will be an impactful series when it comes down to the Sunshine State Conference. Like you already mentioned, both teams tied at third. Not much separating these teams except for the pitchers in the circle. McKaylee Dooley going for the Spartans this evening, and for Lynn University, they'll have Francis Alexa in the circle. Both of them are forces in the circle, but they're also threats at the plate as well. Alexa leads the team in batting average and hits. Dooley on the other side, she drives in all the runs for the Spartans. So it's going to be really key to watch those two go at it. And Lynn University today, they're a powerhouse offensively, scoring 70 runs in 25 games. So they're scoring just over 4 runs a game. It'll be interesting to see if Dooley can shut them down and kind of go off the momentum that they've created. In Tuesday and Wednesday, they had doubleheaders and swept all 4 games. So it'll be key to see if they can kind of rally behind each other and take this conference series this weekend.
Spartans have been on a roll of late, as you mentioned, Dom. McKaylee Dooley currently with a whopping 1.62 ERA, add on 117 strikeouts and 12 wins. But as we talked about it, she's also the catalyst offensively, leading the Spartans unit in RBIs and 5 doubles to go along with that. It's been a pleasure to watch if you are a Spartans fan.
So tonight's starting lineup for the Spartans coming out: Cortez in center field, Clawberg at shortstop, McKaylee Dooley in the circle as we mentioned, Bailey Phillips, the freshman, at third base, Maddie Farrell behind the dish, Shelby Preston right in left field, in the 6 hole, Emily Profit, the freshman, getting a start as designated player, another freshman, Emily Jansen, at first base, and in the 9 hole, Lauren Pasco in right field. At second base in the flex position, Erica Matic. She will not be swinging the bat tonight, but she's been very, very consistent in the field and done a good job at second base for the Spartans. And now for Lynn University Fighting Knights, Francis Alexa, the pitcher, is leading off. Mackenzie Wyatt in center field. In the 3 holes, Carolina Flores, the shortstop. Victoria Rios behind the dish for the Fighting Knights. Elizabeth Diaz at first. Kayla Sheffield, a designated player. Aaron Sunduk in left field, Shale Aronson at second base, and Natalie Costero in right field. At third base in the flex position, Brittany Purser. And now we'll stand and rise for the national anthem, and we'll be right back with first pitch.
Today's game will be officiated by crew chief Tracy Olson Oliver. She'll be calling balls and strikes. And at first base will be Lisa Pierce. Weather is completely clear today. Thanks again for joining us. 6 o'clock on a beautiful Saturday night, Tampa, Florida. So, Dom, we'll get a look pitcher versus pitcher here in the first at bat with Alexa against Dooley. Alexa batting .400 on the season.
Yeah, she's a stud for the Fighting Knights, like you mentioned. Leads the team in average and hits. She's got 28 hits on the season. She's done a great job at the plate. She also draws a lot of walks. She's got 14 walks. So, like we mentioned in the opening, it's going to be pitcher versus pitcher the whole evening, and it'll be a good matchup to watch. And for the Spartans, they got a lot of underclassmen playing today. That's been the tale of the season so far. With freshmen at the corners, you got freshmen at designated player as well, with Emily Profit getting a start tonight. Emily Profit actually on a 7-game hit streak, so she's been tearing it up in her time at the plate. It's been pretty impressive to see her come in for Christina Clawberg, as Clawberg was hindered by an injury for a couple games, and so Profit was able to step right in and kind of show off her skills early on in the season.
Yeah, head coach Leslie Cantor has to be happy with the contributions from the young Spartans. Very interchangeable are these players, not limiting themselves to one role. They can do it in a multitude of ways.
So a couple streaks to look for here in this game. The Spartans have drawn at least 1 walk in 5 straight games, and they've got at least 7 hits in 10 straight games. And in part to that's got to do with their 8-2 record in the last 10 games. Able to get over that 7 hit. I feel like that's kind of the marker that you shoot for. Try to get about 7 to 10 hits in a ball game. Move some runners across the base paths and try to drive in some runs.
That's a great point. I think one of the keys to look out for the Spartans is the big inning. When they get the big inning, they are electric. And mainly just contributing and cashing in when runners are on base. You never want to leave runners on. So something the Spartans will look to do. Spartans almost ready as Francis Alexa steps into the batter's plate. Dooley's ready. Alexa's ready. First pitch, moments away.
Spartans in the red jerseys, black pants. Fighting Knights in the gray, white, and blue. First pitch, just underway.
Matic and Phillips in the defense. Now Jansen takes a step in. 1-0 the count on Alexa. This one lofted into center field. This one will reach the wall. Francis Alexa with a leadoff double. As you mentioned, the leading average player and hits for the Lynn Fighting Knights.
Yeah, she's been a stud all over the field for the Knights this season. And she shows it right there on the second pitch of the ball game.
Next up, the sophomore Mackenzie Wyatt playing center field.
Now batting number 1, Mackenzie Wyatt.
That was Alexa's 7th double on the season. She's really doing a good job as a leadoff hitter for the Fighting Knights.
First pitch outside. Big at-bat here for McKaylee Dooley, trying to avoid an early double. The bat of Alexa. She gone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. McKaylee Dooley, an important strikeout there for the Spartans.
It's been the story for McKaylee Dooley throughout this season. She's been pretty dominant in strikeout category. She's got 117 strikeouts. That was 118 to only 11 walks. It's a great ratio for the pitcher here for the Spartans.
Next up, Carolina Flores, batting .347 on the season with 19 RBIs, one of the offensive catalysts for this Lynn lineup.
Flores is a sophomore from California, but she leads a team in homers, RBIs, and stolen bases. Pretty impressive from the 3-hitter. Only a sophomore, contributing a lot here for the Fighting Knights.
6 home runs, very impressive.
Yeah, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs. She's a force at the plate and also on the base paths. And she's got 9 stolen bases. Pretty good combination of a player.
Spartans defense respecting the pop. This one lofted into center Field taking charge will be Cortez making the play. 2 down. Next up, the catcher, Victoria Rios, junior out of Miami, Florida.
Number 12, Victoria Rios.
Rios batting cleanup for the Fighting Knights. Little nubber taking charge is Matic. Strong throw to Jansen. And Michaela Dooley works out of a leadoff double with 3 strong at-bats. That'll conclude the top half of the first inning. It'll be Cortez, Clawberg, and Dooley up for the Spartans when we come back. Welcome back as we prepare for the bottom half of the first inning. Serena Cortez will lead it off first for the Spartans to face Francis Olexa. Dom Cortez comes in batting .333, leading the Spartans in hits with 26, leading the team in doubles with 8, also presenting a force to be reckoned with on the base paths with 2 stolen bases.
Yeah, she's also holding a 9-game hit streak right now, pretty impressive. And during that streak, she's got 4 multi-hit games. So she's starting to get on a tear for the Spartans and trying to bounce back from last season after she got hurt towards the end of the year. So she's really coming on as a senior leader here for the Spartans.
Olexa, a southpaw, will be pitching from the outer portion of the circle. It'll be interesting to see how they do against this phenom who has been so dynamic, leading this team. However, only 32 strikeouts for Olexa compared to, as we mentioned, 117 for Dooley. So she gets the ball on the bat a lot, and not an overwhelming pitcher in terms of striking out.
Yeah, Lynn's got 3 or 4 pitchers that can go for them. So far, Alexa's only thrown 55 innings, so 35 strikeouts, 34 strikeouts isn't too bad. She's got 5-2 record in 8 starts so far.
First pitch high, 1-0 to Serena Cortez. The 1-0 pops sky high. Taking charge, Rios, the catcher, retiring Cortez.
Little flip-flop in the order this evening with Clawberg going back to the 2-hole where she's been. Shelby Press has held that position for the last few games as Clawberg's worked her way back from an injury.
Clawberg has been instrumental in getting Profit, Emily Profit, only a freshman, comfortable at the plate, showing some leadership, the junior that is. Now batting in the 2-hole for the Spartans, fouls off the first pitch.
So like I mentioned, Clawberg started the year off really hot. She had a hit in 8 of her first 11 games, then was hindered by that quad injury. She's gone only 1 for 12 since, working 3 walks in that span of time. It'd be nice to see her get in a rhythm here going into this conference series.
The 1-1, punched foul, 1-2 the count. Seems like this one should be a pitcher's duel. 2 dynamic pitchers in the circle. This could be one where maybe a few runs is the difference maker, whoever can strike first.
Yeah, absolutely. Spartans have already played in 14 games decided by 2 or less runs. So like you mentioned, every run will matter in this one.
Clawberg working the count to 2-2. As McKaylee Dooley awaits on deck. And the payoff. This one hit on a button. This one will reach the left center field gap. Extra bases for Christina Clawberg. That's a stand-up double.
It's a great job there by Christina, driving the ball to left center field gap and getting an early base runner in scoring position for the Spartans.
McKaylee Dooley, the RBI leader with 11 ribbies on the season. Opportunity here with Clawberg standing off second base.
Yeah, pitcher versus pitcher. We've been talking about it all evening so far. And here's the southpaw going against the workhorse in McKaylee Dooley.
Dooley can help her own cause here with a base hit. Alexa will look to work out of trouble. Nubber right back to Alexa. Advancing to third is Clawberg, 2 outs.
But it's bringing up one of the hottest hitters for the Spartans. This is freshman Bailey Phillips, batting .371 so far this season. She's been doing a great job as a freshman in the 4-hole, contributing a ton for the Spartans.
We've seen Phillips as a designated player, and today she's at the hot corner, so talking about interchangeable players, Phillips one of them. Taking the first pitch.
And she's played in every game so far as a true freshman. And batting in the 4-hole, that's a heck of a story for the Spartans and for the rest of the team, as it's kind of motivating some of the other freshmen, sophomores in the lineup.
Definitely. And the pitch taken. Strike count goes 1-1.
Bailey Phillips was able to drive in a couple runs this past Tuesday and Wednesday. See if she can keep on her tear that she's been on so far.
Looking to drive in Clawberg, who stands off third. This one
Fall.
hit up the middle. Running hard is Phillips. An errant throw.
That was a tough play to make anyway. It was kind of off the hands. Kind of caught an in-between hop as the shortstop and second baseman came together. But it's a great job by just putting the ball in play by Bailey Phillips. Driving in her 7th run of the season.
To all the young viewers out there, Bailey Phillips did it the right way. Running hard out of the box, no matter what level of ball you're playing, effort is key. And we saw it there, applying pressure for the shortstop there. Flores made a tough throw a little bit up the line. Nonetheless, Spartans get on the board first. Maddie Farrell hits one directly at Wyatt. That will conclude the first inning of play, but the Spartans score 1 run. Leading off for the Fighting Knights, Elizabeth Diaz, playing first base, the junior out of Wesley Chapel, Florida. Start off the second inning as the Spartans break a huddle in the middle of the circle. On deck, Kayla Sheffield be a designated player. And third will be Erin Sunduk, senior out of Pompano Beach, Florida. First pitch swung on and missed, 0-1.
As you mentioned, Diaz is a local product out of Wesley Chapel. Batting .342 on the season, 17 RBIs. That's good for second on the Fighting Knights.
Top to bottom, this Fighting Knight lineup is Very dangerous. We saw the Spartans earlier in the week get outstanding contributions from the bottom half of the lineup, coming up clutch when needed.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the opener, they swept games on Tuesday and Wednesday as that ball's hit to Bailey Phillips at third base, and she'll fire it over to Emily Jansen for the first out of the inning. But in the games on Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday they took on Southwest Minnesota State. They beat them in 2 games pretty handedly, and then they took on Chestnut Hill College on Wednesday. They took a 1-0 victory in 10 innings back in Game 1. And then on Game 2, Dooley came in and got her 12th win of the season, a complete game shutout, 2-0 victory for the Spartans in that one. But the one thing I looked at in that game was Dooley had 86 pitches and 69 of them were strikes. Pretty consistent approach towards making these hitters put the ball in play and beat the defense, which has been pretty solid here for the Spartans. And that one's driven a long way, deep left field, into the batting cages, foul.
Yeah, you really said it great there, Dom. McKaylee Dooley, really, when she's on, she's as good as any ace out there. And quickly 0-2 now on Sheffield. The 0-2 bounces to the plate. Dooley has been so terrific once given a lead to the Spartans. She sports a 1-0 lead at the moment. Been spoiled. We'll do it again. Starting to see some shadows as the sun begins to go down here.
It's about 69 degrees here at the University of Tampa, and that one will catch her on the elbow. Kind of looked like Sheffield leaned into that one a little bit. But it's a rare walk given up by Dooley, hit by pitch.
Yeah, Sheffield's going to get on base however she can. Takes one for the team. Against a pitcher like McKaylee Dooley, why not? Get on base however you can.
Need as many base runners as possible against McKaylee Dooley. She's really been pretty dominant so far this season. She's holding a 12-7 record.
Erin Sunduke now playing left field. She's listed as a catcher, but playing the outfield today for the Fighting Knights.
To kind of touch back on the dominance by Dooley, she started in 15 games and she's got 14 complete games. So she's ready to go the distance here and then probably pitch another one tomorrow in the doubleheader.
Yeah, McKaylee Dooley does not want to hear anything about a pitch count. Snap throw. Getting back there is Sheffield. 1-1 the count on Sunduke.
So UT leads this series 46 wins to Lynn's 20 wins.
Jansen has room.
As that one's fouled out of play, or excuse me, fouled to Jansen, as you said. But Spartans are really dominant in the series, and they're 7-3 in the last 10 ball games against Lynn University. Last year, they had a 3-game set. Spartans took the first 2, so they won the series, but then dropped Game 3 5-1. And that fatigue factor coming into Game 3 sometimes can be a difference. That's why these Friday night matchups, Game 1 of the series, is so key to get ahead and get that first victory, especially in a conference game like this.
There'll be a stolen base for Sheffield.
Yeah, it was a good throw by Maddie Farrell. They just weren't able to squeeze it at second base and put the tag down. Now they got a runner in scoring position.
Up at the plate is the second baseman for the Fighting Knights, Shale Aronson. Infield and outfield playing straight up for Aronson.
Aarons is also lethal in the base pass. She's got 4 stolen bases so far this season. And Dooley will try to keep her off the base pass and get the third out of the inning and get the Spartans' offense back at the plate.
3-1, Aronson leading in the count. Dooley will look to get back on track here, finding the strike zone. And the payoff. The looper. Christina Klallberg makes a running catch. That will conclude the top half of the second inning. Leading off the bottom half of the second inning for the Spartans, Shelby Press playing left field.
Yeah, she's been in the 2-hole a lot recently. Now she's dropping back down to 6. She might see a couple more fastballs here and add on to that 309 average.
Some more people flood into the stands. This is a big-time rivalry, as you mentioned. Familiar faces, Fighting Knights and the Spartans.
It's nice to see a decent crowd here for this conference matchup. Tuesday and Wednesday, you get the teams from way out of state, Minnesota and Philadelphia, and weren't too many fans here. There's actually more fans for the opposing team than there was UT fans, because that Tuesday, Wednesday matinee softball, kind of hard for some people to get out of work, you know?
For sure. 1-1 the count on Shelby Press. This one could be trouble, but goes foul, 1-2. On deck is the designated player, freshman Emily Profit. And then the first baseman after that will be Emily Jansen following up. Alexa's ready. Press is ready. 1-2 on its way. To the shortstop, Wyatt. Throws across the diamond. One down.
So we've talked a lot about Emily Profit so far and all the freshman contributions. She's another one. As I mentioned earlier, she's on a 7-game hit streak. That's pretty impressive for somebody who's just come into the lineup and kind of taken over ever since. 458 average in 24 at-bats for Emily Profit out of Caravel Academy in Delaware.
Profit takes a first pitch strike.
And in that 7-game hit streak, she's got 3 multi-hit games herself. The poise and the confidence to come into the lineup and kind of take over, it's got to be infectious for the Spartans.
Alexa works in the head. 0-2 now the count. Profit in the hole. Sun starts to go down. No more shadows out on the field.
Yeah, it's a beautiful night out here. Not much wind. So as these balls go in the air, they might be able to take off. You know, on Wednesday, the wind was blowing in, and every ball that was put in the air kind of died immediately. So it'll be interesting to see that here tonight.
Profit hits one.
That took a wicked bounce.
Late hop.
Second baseman Aronson wasn't able to corral it.
Spartans get the benefit of the doubt. Emily Jansen up to the plate. We talk about it, and this is a great sign for the Spartans for the foreseeable future. All of the underclassmen that come in, game out, ready to play, and do not look phased at all.
Not at all. It's a good job by Coach Canner recruiting some of these players and having them be ready for this big stage. as they step into conference play.
For the upperclassmen, it's so important guiding these freshmen and sophomores so they get more experience progressively.
Emily Jansen, the other day against Chestnut Hill on Wednesday, she had her first multi-hit game. Pretty key situation there, though, because at that point, she went 2 for 4 in the game, but at that point, her hit made her a base runner for McKaylee Dooley to come up, for Serena Cortez to come up and drive in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. So it was a good job by Jansen to be able to get on base in a key situation in the 10th inning of that 1-0 victory by the Spartans over Chestnut Hill.
And it just accredits the confidence that head coach Leslie Cantor has in this team. The players going through a slump, fully expects them to hit their way out of it, and we're starting to see that now. 3-1 the count to Jansen. Takes ball 4.
The 7th walk of the season by Jansen. That's one thing that's keeping her in the lineup is that on-base percentage keeps going through the roof. She consistently reaches base via walk, and she's played in all but one game so far this season, so Coach Cantor really doesn't have a reason to take her out if she keeps getting on base.
Lauren Pasco now, the 9-hitter playing right field. I've been joking around all season. I say that Lauren Pasco has the best warm-up song. Sang some Tessie karaoke last night, so
I think that's the northeastern side of you coming out.
absolutely. Opportunity here for Pasco. 2 runners on, only 1 out, as the lineup will flip on over to the top with Cortez awaits on deck.
This will be a big spot here for Lauren Pasco, kind of feeding off Game 2 on Wednesday where she went 3 for 3 in that ball game. See if she can tack on a couple more hits here for the Spartans.
0-2 the count quickly. Alexa trying to keep this game within reach because McKaylee Dooley is so dangerous when she's given a lead. She does not often give it up.
And Pasco's a junior for University of Tampa, but in her freshman-sophomore season, she was mostly just a pinch runner. This season, she's came on, and she's in a platoon role with Lauren Reyes in right field. But Pasco so far on the season's 10 for 19 with a .526 batting average. That's another impressive thing for the Spartans lineup as Coach Cantor just plugs players in, and they just consistently get the job done.
With such a talented team, it makes it hard to only play 9 at any given game because there's so many different options you can go with in terms of lineup and defensive. Nice stop there by the catcher Rios. It's a full count now. Quickly it was 0-2, but credit Pasco, 3 consecutive balls outside. Full count.
Battling all the way back to a 3-2 count here. Be a big position because there's nowhere to put her with Cortez on deck. She'll look at strike 3 on the inside corner.
She gone.
Bring up a big spot here for the leadoff hitter, senior leader, Serena Cortez.
Credit Francis Alexa. We were talking about it. Only 32 strikeouts that we saw. That was one of her go-to pitches. Big pitch there. Went from being the bases loaded 1 out to first and second out with 2. Cortez takes the first pitch strike.
Yeah, as I mentioned a few batters ago, Serena Cortez was the shining spot in Game 1 on Wednesday. As in the 10th inning, she came up with a huge game-winning double, laced it into left center field. No doubt about her. Emily Jansen walked home.
Impressive running catch there by the left fielder, Sunduk. As we go to the top of the 3rd, 1-0 in favor of your Tampa Spartans. we get ready for the top half of the third inning. Leading off for the Fighting Knights, right fielder, Natalie Costero, freshman out of Miami, Florida.
Now batting number 23, Natalie Costero.
Alexa, the pitcher, awaits on deck. Dooley's ready. Costero's ready. Third inning underway. Dooley works ahead 0-2 now.
Yeah, that's the big thing for Dooley. She works ahead in a lot of counts, but she makes the hitters do their job. As that one's flared to the second baseman, Erica Matic, for the first out of the inning. But like at the end of last inning, it was a 3-1 count to Aronson, and she flared one to shortstop. But that was a 3-1 count, and should have been something you can drive. But Dooley threw it over the plate and made her try to hit it, and she tried, but she didn't do too good of a job.
Alexa, in her first at-bat, crushed a double. As we talk about, that's the lone hit for the Fighting Knights. So, Kaylee Dooley retiring 8 batters after that. So, opportunity for Alexa again. 1-1 the count. This is going to be one of the matchups that we will look at again and again, both on separate sides with the pitchers, both great hitters, and they can do it in the circle as well.
It'll be fun to watch, especially with the southpaw and Francis Alexa going for the Fighting Knights tonight. Spartans haven't seen too many lefties this season, but when they have, they've gotten some base hits and able to get the job done.
It's very interesting. Alexa's out of Delta, British Columbia, Canada, the senior. Had a great career for the Fighting Knights.
Yeah, she figured she wanted to get out of the cold weather, come down to beautiful, sunny Florida. And here she is in a big spot as a senior.
Dooley walks Alexa, so in Alexa's first 2 at-bats, she reaches base. Mackenzie Wyatt now, sophomore, out of King and Queen, Virginia. We next to face Dooley.
She struck out in the last plate appearance with Alexa standing on second base. And Dooley looked to get a ground ball double play here.
You can see in that bat to Alexa, Dooley did not give in, not going to give her anything in her wheelhouse to drive, and she worked the walk.
Especially with the big hitter next coming up with Carolina Flores. Dooley would really like to get this out here, as that one's fouled down the third base line and out of play.
See the left fielder Shelby Press playing a few steps in left field. Aside from that, Pasco and Cortez playing straight up.
Maddie Farrell ready to throw out Alexa if she goes with a little pump fake of her own.
Kaylee Dooley not happy with some of these calls as she walks around the circle, kind of eyeing in. Where was that one?
Yeah, we've had this umpire a few times this year. She tends to be a little inconsistent. Tracy Oliver Olson is behind the dish, and Lisa Pierce on the base paths. But Dooley's got to focus in and throw some strikes and hopefully help out the umpire, make some better calls. That one's driven in the deep center field. But Cortez is under it for the second out of the inning.
Very smooth out there in center field. Had an awkward angle, but she makes it look easy, ranging to her right, making the running catch. 2 down. Big out there by Dooley, who was having trouble finding the strike zone here.
Yeah, that was a key spot to get the second out of the inning before this big bopper comes up for the Fighting Knights.
Yeah, Flores, the shortstop, came into this game batting .347, batting third, looking to do damage here for the Fighting Knights. Healthy cut, swung on and missed.
And Alexa just pump faked one of the Spartans. She gave a false start down there at first base, acting like she was going to take off for second. And you heard the Spartans say, going, but she is still standing on first base.
Yeah, Alexa trying to get in the head of Michaela Dooley at first base. Another bluff there.
Yeah, but it's a good stop by Maddie Farrell, knocking the ball down, keeping it in front of her.
The crowd's starting to get into this one as this could be a pivotal point, the third inning, with the heat of the lineup up for the Fighting Knights. So that one's poked into right field, but Lauren Pasco's there. She makes the play, and after the top half of the third inning, 1-0 in favor of your Tampa Spartans. Welcome back to the Namoli Family Stadium alongside Dom Galone. I'm Connor Moore. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful Saturday night here in Tampa, Florida. Leading off for your Tampa Spartans will be the shortstop Christina Clawberg. Clawberg scored the lone run of this game.
Yeah, she scored and doubled back in the first. Great job by the Spartans, able to get the first run of the ball game. Kind of take off there in the first inning. Getting some nice insurance runs for Dooley as she's in the circle dominating. And she's also awaiting on deck.
Yeah, you take the runs however you get them. It wasn't perhaps the prettiest play by the Spartans, but nonetheless, they scored that one run in the first inning. That's been the difference maker so far. We came into this game expecting Alexa and Dooley to bring their A game. Two phenomenal pitchers. We're seeing that here tonight. 1-1, the count on Christina Clawberg. Clawberg takes ball two. Alexa deals. Fouled off.
Yeah, so last year, Clawberg got hurt at the very beginning of the season. Only played in 3 games. So now here's a junior. She's really trying to take off and be a contributor for the Spartans. Her freshman year, she did a great job. Made an impact playing in 37 games. But I think coming into college, she really thought she was going to have a bigger role. And getting hurt last year as a sophomore probably hindered her development a little bit, but she's trying to stay healthy, keep things going here for the University of Tampa.
And you mentioned injuries. Spartans have that next man up mentality. Wait for your turn because you never know when you might be called upon.
Yeah, you've really seen that this year as Corinne Miner. She's been kind of the last 2 years. She's a sophomore, but last year as a freshman, she played a big role behind Dooley as kind of 1A, 1B pitchers. And now Corinne's hurt so far this season as Clawberg goes down swinging. Corinne's been hurt, but stepping up at third base has been the freshman Bailey Phillips. And when, like I mentioned, when Miner was not in the circle, she'd be at third base. So it's been nice to see the Phillips, the freshman, come and contribute. Like you mentioned, next person up mentality, fill in and doing a great job.
We saw Clawberg was fooled there by Alexa's changeup. She's been throwing mainly fastballs today, so getting her off guard. She gets credit with the strikeout. It's McKaylee Dooley back up at the plate.
Now sometimes the hitters in softball do not hit. The pitchers in softball do not hit at the plate. They'll get designated players for. But like we're seeing tonight, both of these pitchers are the top hitters for their respective teams.
What you got to appreciate about McKaylee Dooley's game, both when she's pitching and when she's at the plate, she does not waste any time. She's usually swinging first pitch, and when she's pitching, she gets the ball and she's always waiting on the batter. Hey, let's go, let's play.
She gets right back on the rubber and she's ready to go. It's funny you mentioned that because Wednesday she actually almost started in the bat without a center fielder.
That one is punched out into right field. Costero retires Dooley. 2 down for Bailey Phillips. She had the lone ribby for the Spartans back in the first inning.
Now batting number 15, Bailey Phillips.
We're seeing this freshman really come into her own. Taking charge as one of the best hitters for the Spartans. Very reliable, and she's doing it in the field too. Like we saw her as a designated player at times, but playing the hot corner today.
Yeah, she's a vacuum down there at the hot corner. She eats everything up. Not many errors coming out of her at third base.
That one is ripped into center field. Mackenzie Wyatt makes the play. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Francis Olexa. We'll be right back as we go to the 4th inning.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Amy Belisari, the head coach for the Fighting Knights, did not take place in that meeting over there. It was all players. Pretty cool to see, though, as the players come together and try to motivate each other.
We've been seeing this a lot across sports. We even saw with the Golden State Warriors. Head coach Steve Kerr at some point gave the drawing board to Draymond Green, and it's like sometimes they're tired of your voice. The coach is tired of their own voice. The players sometimes need to communicate with each other.
Yeah, I mean it's easier when you're on the field and you're seeing some of the things going right and wrong. So it's nice to be able to communicate with some of your players because here in softball, the left fielder and the first baseman could see 2 different things, but they're never really near each other. So it's nice to be able to communicate, give some pointers here and there, and help out your fellow teammates.
Well, we'll see if that player-to-player meeting pays off for the Fighting Knights as Victoria Rios, the catcher, cleanup hitter, leads off. 1-1 is the count in the top half of the 4th inning. Swung on and missed.
That's really deceptive pitch there by Dooley. Kind of started at the knees and just died down in the dirt, but as you mentioned, Ray is swinging right through it.
The 1-2, sky high. Clawberg ranging under and making the catch for the first out. Don, we talked about the incredible numbers that these Fighting Knights have put up on the board on the offensive side, but McKaylee Dooley has just been shutting down every opposing lineup, it seems like, throughout the course of this season. I mean, we talk about it. A 1.62 ERA is outstanding, and really, I mean, it's very easy if you're a defender to just kind of hang out, and when you have 117 strikeouts as well, you're not doing too much work because you can just sit back and watch McKaylee Dooley put on a show.
And it's definitely fun to watch as McKaylee dominates almost every opponent she plays. But this is an offensive powerhouse in Lynn as they put up 109 runs compared to the 72 by the Spartans. So it's interesting to see if Dooley can keep this going for the next 4 innings and shut down the Lynn offense.
Aside from that leadoff double, she's been in cruise control. She gone, the punch out by Tracy Olsen-Oliver. That's a strikeout from Kaylee Dooley. Next up for the Fighting Knights, number 17, Kayla Sheffield. sophomore out of Auburndale, Florida.
And it's key to keep these runners off the base paths, as Lynn already has 27 stolen bases so far this season. So Dooley's doing a good job limiting the base runners and striking out a couple at the same time.
We saw Sheffield, who's up at the plate with the stolen base, when she got on. She was hit by a pitch, so took one for the team there in her last at-bat.
Yeah, kind of a scrappy player, trying to do whatever she can to help the team.
The 1-1 on its way. Swung on and missed, going with the changeup there
There's that
is
off
Dooley.
speed again. Very good pitch by McKaylee. And she's going to be consistent with that in almost every game she plays in, keeping these hitters off balance and helping herself in the circle.
1-2, spoiled. Yeah, great point, Dom. Because her fastball is so lethal that hitters have to respect it, but when she throws that off speed at you, you're way out in front. And we saw that there. So 1-2 now on Sheffield. She'll look to stay alive.
She's really able to spot that fastball in the corners. And even when she wants to waste a pitch here, like at 1-2, she throws it up above the hands and sends down Sheffield swinging.
Yeah, the high riser up by the eyes. She gone. McKaylee Dooley gets her swinging, and that will conclude top half of the fourth inning. We'll be right back. Up now for the Spartans, bottom half of the fourth inning, the catcher, Farrell, Maddie Farrell, that is, getting the start, the sophomore out of Brandon, Florida.
Yeah, this is Maddie Farrell. She's got an older sister on the team, Taylor Farrell. But Maddie's been a consistent player for the Spartans behind the dish. She's only a sophomore, and she's played in almost every game so far this season.
We've seen her sister, Taylor, at second base periodically for the season. Alexa deals the 1-0. Ball two. Long pause by Alexa. She looks at Rios, catcher.
Yeah, so as we're mentioning, Maddie's really contributing this year as a sophomore, but last year as a freshman, she led the team in RBIs. She had 25 RBIs as a freshman. That's pretty impressive, kind of just stepping in and being able to run with it, probably in part to her sister who helped her kind of gel within the team and build some chemistry within the University of Tampa Spartans lineup.
No doubt about it. It's say it again and again. It just credits the Spartans' leadership. A lot of these upperclassmen kind of handing the keys to the underclassmen, saying, "Hey, it's your time now. See what you can do." Soon enough, when the underclassmen or upperclassmen, they'll do the same thing with the new incoming
Yeah, they should
players.
be pretty good for years to come here. A lot of freshmen, sophomores contributing now. Can only imagine what they'll do their senior.
The looper. Oh, what a catch. Web gem material there by the right fielder Costero, going all out, sliding on the carpet, one down.
That was a heck of a play there by Costero. Coming straight in, sometimes it's the hardest one to judge. You don't know how far it is in front of you, and she laid out full extension and made a heck of a grab.
You've seen some amazing catches this week. Abby Decker from Southwest Minnesota State had a few of her own. You see that there by Natalie Costero robbing Farrell of what could have been easily extra bases if they want to get by her.
Yeah, that would have been huge for the Spartans to get a leadoff base runner on. So now Shelby Press stands at the plate.
We talk about Shelby Press, now your average 6 hitter. She's been leading off at times, playing batting in the number 2 hole, so very flexible in terms of where she's batting in this lineup.
Yeah, she shows hands there. She's also got a lot of wheels on the base paths. She's leading the team in stolen bases. She's got 4 stolen bases in 5 attempts. Pretty impressive. She's a senior transfer from South Florida State College. And in her time there, she stole 25 bases in 2 seasons. So she's definitely got a lot in the tank if Coach Canner wants to let her run loose.
Coming into this game, batting .309 on the season, the senior, one of the leaders of this Tampa team. She's down to the count 1-2. Little chopper right back to Alexa. Play made.
That was a great spot there by Alexa, putting the pitch on her inner half. And Press hits one off the fists for an easy second out.
Designated player, the freshman Emily Profit out of Newark, Delaware.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Caravel Academy in Delaware is pretty respectable for their softball program and their athletic program in general. A lot of kids go there almost as a prep school, preparing them for the collegiate scene.
Swung on and missed. It is a fabulous night here, Saturday night in Tampa, Florida.
Friday night.
Friday night.
You're one day ahead of us.
One day ahead of us. I'm getting ready for the doubleheader tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm so accustomed to these doubleheaders.
And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you set your clocks back Saturday into Sunday as daylight savings time is coming to a close. Gonna lose an hour of sleep. It's pretty important to my life.
Absolutely.
Sleep is the most important thing for me.
Sleep is a virtue, no doubt about that.
But some say you sleep when you're dead, but I feel like I die a lot. Come back to life, you know?
1-2 the count on Profit. But yeah, this doubleheader tomorrow will really have an influence, an impact on the standings in the Sunshine State Conference, as that one is hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever team can take 2 or 3 in the series should be able to make their way to second place in the conference. Or third place, right behind Embry-Riddle. Right now is at 8-1 in conference, trailing Palm Beach Atlantic, who's undefeated at 6-0.
Yep.
So it's pretty competitive Sunshine State Conference this season, and it's only going to get better as some of these important matchups happen throughout the season.
Yeah, Palm Beach Atlantic kind of catching many people off guard, sitting in at 13-2 overall, 6-0 in Sunshine State Conference play.
And we'll be right back with the top of the 5th inning.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Welcome back as we get ready to head to the 5th inning. Leading off for the Fighting Knights, Erin Sunduk. And
making the platoon switch in right field is Lauren Reyes coming in. Maybe a little bit better of a defensive player for the Spartans, and Lauren Pasco will make her way to the bench. On Wednesday, there was a key play in Game 1 where Chestnut Hill College had second and third with only 1 out. There was a base hit, or what we thought was a base hit, in between first and second. Lauren Reyes came up firing to first base and got the 3rd out of the inning to restrict Chestnut Hill from gaining a run in that game.
We'll have Dom talk a little bit about an upset we saw in the Sunshine State Conference today. Florida Tech, let's get a little word about that, Dom.
Yeah, so as we were just talking about a lot about the Sunshine State Conference, as that bunt is put down, McKaylee Dooley turns and fires. Maddich covering first. She'll stretch out for the 1st out of the inning. But as we were talking about the Sunshine State Conference, Florida Tech, who sits at 1-5 in conference, came out this afternoon and beat Embry-Riddle 2-0. And Embry-Riddle, as we mentioned, was 8-1, and now they're 8-2 in conference. That's a big move there for the Tampa Spartans, as they need the people on top to lose as many times as possible.
Definitely, yeah. If you're the Tampa Spartans, you love to see that. One of the top dogs taking another loss, so helps them as they look at seeding throughout the course of the season. We're already in March here, so the season is quickly, going by us. So any help the Spartans can get from their opponents, that's great.
Yeah, the season's definitely flying by as we're here in March. The Spartans sit at 14-9 overall record, so they'll probably need to win the conference to get into the NCAA tournament. Something that they strived for last season, but came just a game short as they dropped 2 of 3 in the final series against Florida Southern to end the 2017 season. That one's fouled straight back. We've got an 0-2 count here with one away.
Cheryl Aronson, second baseman, quickly behind. She's in the hole, 0-2. And then we say time and time again, McKaylee Dooley is ahead in the count.
Now that's a great waste pitch there just off the outer half of the plate. But the location of McKaylee Dooley, it's key in getting ahead of some of these hitters and putting most of them away, as she's already got 3 strikeouts on the day. At number 4,
She gone.
Aronson goes down looking.
Delayed punch out by Tracy Olson Oliver. Aronson back to the bench. 2 down.
Now batting number 23,
And here's Natalie Castero, who made a heck of a play in right field last inning, laying out full extension. And as you mentioned, it was definitely a web gem out there in right field.
And we might see her on the top 10 later on with that outstanding basket catch, sliding right field. That could have been perhaps
Probably
a
would have
triple.
Could have been double, maybe
could
a
have been
triple, as Maddie Farrell doesn't have the best wheels on the team.
Very
She would
true.
have definitely gotten 2 out of it.
0-2, and McKaylee Dooley is in a groove. Francis Alexa had a crushing double to start off this game, but since then, Lynn has been quiet.
It's funny, in the opening we mentioned pitcher versus pitcher, and the first at bat, Alexa got the best of Dooley. But ever since then, Dooley's been really focused in, and she hasn't allowed a hit ever since.
Yeah, McKaylee Dooley certainly is dialed in. She is in the zone. Great work by Maddie Farrell as well, calling a great game. She gone. Got her swinging. That's the top half of the 5th inning. Another 0 on the board. McKaylee Dooley is on fire. We are ready to resume action. Emily Jansen will lead it off for the Spartans in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Spartans could use a tack-on run or two, it seems like. Despite McKaylee Dooley's dominance and being 6 outs away, Lynn is such a force to be reckoned with on the offensive end. You can't be comfortable with only a 1-run lead.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. In 1-run games, the Spartans are 1-4 on the season. But when it comes to 2-run games, they're 7-2. So that insurance run to get another one would be key and would be huge for McKaylee Dooley and the rest of the Spartans lineup.
Alexa on the other side, she's pitched a fine game aside from the 1 run, and that was an infield hit by Bailey Phillips. which scored Clawberg. That could have been prevented. So if not for that, we might be still stuck in a 0-0 affair. But 1-0, the Spartans clinging on as Jansen behind in the count 0-2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely been a pitcher's duel here so far. And Clawberg came up with the clutch hit in the first inning, the double, and was able to score on that. But besides that, we haven't had many hard hit balls or anything really interesting so far this game.
Jansen digs in. Spoils another one.
The Fighting Knights had a non-conference round robin this past Monday and Tuesday, and they split both of the doubleheaders. In the last game, they played St. Cloud State, and they took the 3-2 victory in that one.
The 0-2. What a play by the first baseman Diaz, going all out and stealing a hit from Emily Jansen. As we talked about before, Lauren Reyes took over for Lauren Pascal, so the sophomore from Tampa, Florida, gets her first at-bat of the night.
Yeah, sophomore from Steinbrenner High School is Lauren Reyes. As well as the hitter before this, Emily Jansen, she also attended Steinbrenner High School. Two teammates hanging out with each other for about 6-7 years on the ball field.
Reyes up there hacking, fouls off the first pitch.
Yeah, that's one thing about her. She's pretty aggressive at the plate. She's done a good job this season. She's already got 2 multi-hit games. The last one coming against Florida Southern back on February 17th.
Yeah, the Spartans lineup does not mess around. They are up there ready to swing. 0-2 now the count after consecutive foul balls from Reyes.
Yeah, this platoon in right field has really worked for Coach Canner and the Spartans so far this season, between Reyes and Pasco alternating. Both of them have done a decent job at the plate, and they've been even better in the field.
Mackenzie Wyatt makes a running catch. Quickly 2 outs for the Spartans as we flip back to the top of the lineup with Serena Cortez, center fielder, up for the Spartans. A combined 4 hits by these two teams. Pitching on display here. Is it good pitching or bad offense? You be the judge.
Yeah, I think it's good pitching. As we mentioned, Dooley is dominant in almost every game she plays. And Alexa, with her stats, seems like the same way.
Yeah, Alexa entered with a 2.39 ERA, so nothing to shrug your shoulders about.
That one's off her leg, but she'll have enough time to fire it over to first base for the final out of the inning.
Alexa, tough player, senior, shakes it off. Doesn't really show any signs of fatigue. That will conclude the 5th inning of play. And McKaylee Dooley, Dom, is 6 outs away from a complete game, 1-hit shutout, perhaps.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive by her. I mean, we've mentioned a few times here tonight that she's used to going a complete game. She's already got 14 and 15 starts. So this would just be the norm for the Spartans. But it'll be really interesting to see if Dooley can keep this high-flying Fighting Knights offense to a minimum and hold them to 0 runs, as another shutout would be great for her statistics.
Yeah, Dooley looking to get her 13th win. It's a great.
Outs to go, like you mentioned, until her 15th complete game, if she's lucky enough to get there.
The Fighting Knights will look to find answers up to the plate. The pitcher, Alexa, who has the lone hit of the game for the Fighting Knights, try to spark something here for Lynn. Dooley's ready. Alexa's ready. Let's start the 6th inning.
Yeah, this pitcher versus pitcher matchup is really key, and Alexa's reached base twice already tonight. She's She's been the base runner 2 of the 3 times that Lynn University's been able to get base runners. As she tries to lean into that one there. But it'd be key if Dooley is able to put her away and get the first out of the 6th inning.
Just shows the respect opponents have when you're again and again leaning in, trying to just get on base however you can. It shows that teams are really afraid to even swing against Michaela Dooley because making contact in itself is so difficult.
Yeah, with as many strikeouts she has and the different types of pitches she has, you tend to get uncomfortable at the plate. But Alexa will drive that one into center field and get her 2nd hit of the ball game.
Alexa's 3rd time reaching base today for the Fighting Knights. She has been one of the few bright spots for this lineup.
Yeah, it's funny, the story we keep telling, Dooley versus Alexa, keeps on poking its head right back out, and Alexa's reached base for the 3rd time so far here this evening.
And Alexa has 4 stolen bases on the season. Do we maybe see some small ball? Bailey Phillips in at the corner, showing bunt. Fouling it off is Mackenzie Wyatt. It seems that they're content with moving Alexa over for the big hitters, Flores and Rios, to follow.
And a game like this, a 1-run ball game, kind of need as many runners in scoring position as possible and try to get one of them lucky base hits as Bailey Phillips had back in the 1st inning.
Bunt is put down. Phillips throws to Jansen. Sacrifice is successful for Wyatt. 1 down. Advancing to 2nd is Alexa.
Yeah, it's a great job by Wyatt, getting the bunt down, showing hands from the very beginning, letting them know that she's going to sacrifice and moving that runner over into scoring position.
So we'll see if the sluggers, if you will, for the Lynn lineup can capitalize here. We have Carolina Flores, who has 19 ribbies on the season, looking to get 20 perhaps.
But she's also got 9 stolen bases, so maybe you'll see a bunt put down here as her speed might be able to help her reach first base.
First pitch on the black, strike 1. Very vital for Dooley to get ahead in the count. The only times we've seen her struggle is when she's fighting from behind. Pitch high, 1-1 the count.
Yeah, Dooley was 1st team All SSC last season. She's on her way to get a consecutive 1st team appearance here this year, as she's already got over 100 innings pitched and over 120 strikeouts.
This is a monumental at-bat right here. 1-2 the count on Flores. Dooley will look to go to her put-away pitch, where Flores, I think at this point, choking up on the bat, you're just trying to put contact, try to find a hole and get Alexa in to even this game up at 1.
It's the 3rd time through the lineup for Lynn, so they probably recognize some of the pitches that Dooley's been going to. But that one right there might have been a nice waist pitch, putting that up at her eyes. And then here, you might anticipate the ball in the dirt on that off-speed that Dooley keeps going back to.
Yeah, the off-speed, very likely, it'll be something to watch if Flores is ready for it, because if she is, it could get worrisome. Here we go. She goes with the heat. Got her swinging. Crucial strikeout, Michaela Dooley.
Heck of a job there, getting the big hitter in Flores. And now Victoria Rios comes to the plate for the Fighting Knights.
Batting cleanup is Rios. She has 17 ribbies on the season. Pardon, she has 11 on the season, along with 21 hits. First pitch fouled off. We're seeing some blankets out in the crowd. It's a little bit of a chilly night in Tampa. I kind of don't mind it. Being from New York myself, this seems like fall weather, but
yeah, it's a beautiful spring night. It's been hot in the last few weekends that we've had here, up in the 80s, but now we're down into the 60s, and people don't know how to act.
The crowd is on their feet. 0-2 with 2 outs for Michaela Dooley. Can she get it done? We will see. The payoff. High. We'll do it again.
Like I was talking about with the last batter, It's another waist pitch there up above her eyes, kind of changing the eye level for the batter. As one in the dirt here might get her swinging.
The 1-2. She gone. Good
goes
morning,
back
good
to the
afternoon,
fastball.
and good night. Goes with the fastball, as you said. What a job by Dooley with the two lethal batters, Flores and Rios. Both had an opportunity to get Alexa in from second, but to no avail. We will go to the bottom half of the sixth inning right after this. Welcome back to the Namoli Family Stadium alongside Dom Galone. I'm Connor Moore. Outs away. Before we do that, we'll have Christina Klallberg leading it off for the Spartans.
Now batting number 3, Christina.
But the question comes to be is how long can Dooley keep going with these dominant performances? If she can carry them throughout the Sunshine State Conference, it'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you would think at a certain point perhaps teams would start to figure her out, but it is really alarming when teams are not even putting the bat on the ball, just flat out missing. So that's something. As Klallberg puts one sky high, taken by the catcher Rios. There might have been some confusion between the first baseman, pitcher, and catcher, but Rios ultimately takes charge.
Yeah, normally you don't want to see the catcher making that play. You'd rather the first baseman coming in on it. It's definitely an easier play for her. But the catcher made a nice play as Victoria Rios, was able to corral that one for the first out.
Kaylee Dooley up at the dish.
We got the southpaw versus the workhorse.
A rare instance here where Dooley takes the first pitch for strike one. She's usually up there hacking away.
Dooley 0 for 2 on the evening so far. She'll try to get her first hit.
This one hit to the shortstop. Strong throw there by Flores. 2 down. As Bailey Phillips steps up to bat for the Spartans. She drove in the lone run of this matchup back in the first inning.
Yeah, it was an awkward play, but they wrote it down in the book as an RBI single, and that's all that matters. Kind of off the fists, humpbacker over the pitcher's head, and second base and shortstop came together. Neither one of them was able to make the play.
Phillips takes strike one. It is a sensational Friday night here in Tampa, Florida. Thanks again for joining us. Phillips spoils that one. Now 0-2 the count.
Last weekend, the Spartans took on Florida Tech. And in one of those games, Bailey Phillips came through with her first collegiate home run. Drove in 2 runs for the Spartans in a 5-3 victory. Pretty big spot for the freshman here and then.
One is crushed down to right field. Phillips aggressive heading into second, full head of steam. She will make it. So we talked about it in the first inning when she sprinted out of the box to beat that infield single. We see that one there as the right fielder Costero stumbled as she got that one running hard out of the box. It is a sliding double for Phillips.
Yeah, it was a great hustle there by Bailey Phillips. As a freshman, knowing she's got to dig out the box, was thinking 2 the whole way and was able to get there. And now we'll have a pinch runner come on, Bree Taphouse. She's been pretty consistent on the bases as she's came on as a pinch runner. She's got the wheels for the Spartans. And on a base hit here by Maddie Farrell, she should be able to score from second base.
Yeah, the junior out of Glendale, New York, definitely sports more speed than Phillips, so a base hit would likely score Taphouse. As the catcher, Maddie Farrell, an RBI opportunity here with 2 down in the 6th inning.
What's been pretty cool is to see Bailey Phillips as a freshman having that good hustle, that good mentality. As the other day, she hit a stand-up double and tried to extend it to third base, where she was thrown out, but even still, the aggressiveness as a freshman, pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the aggressive nature of this Spartans team, can't say it again, how important it is, especially when you're in these tight 1-0 games. Every little bit helps. The 0-1 from Alexa, taken outside, 1-1 the count. Defense playing straight up for Farrell. And the payoff on its way. Looked low from up here, but called for a strike. Nice job by Rios framing the pitch.
Yeah, it was right down the middle, maybe a bit low, but Maddie Farrell's the catcher. She should know the strike zone at this point in the ball game and be up there battling.
This one hit down the... Oh, what a catch. A running catch. Slamming into the wall there was Diaz. And that will conclude the 6th inning. But, Dom, the Spartans are 3 outs away from a game 1 of 3 against Lynn victory. Shutout could be in order.
Yeah, Dooley going for her 15th complete game of the season. It would be really cool and impressive to see if she can get 3 outs here and keep the shutout intact.
Yeah, it's been a historical season from Kayla Dooley. Spartans only have 14 wins. She's won 12 of them. Sam Kay has the other 2. But if the Spartans can get to 15-9, that would really propel them. As we look at, they would take the lead against Lynn. Florida Southern came in tied as well with these 2 teams at 5-4. But we talked about an upset by Florida Tech over Embry-Riddle. That might have a big factor when we look at the end of the season. Maybe one that they should have won but didn't. That could have a telltale sign.
Yeah, those are the key games where, as the Spartans took 2 or 3 against Florida Tech, but every game matters, especially in conference. And as Florida Tech was able to take down Embry-Riddle, that helps the Spartans in their chances for an NCAA berth.
Now, sometimes Dooley gets all the credit, but how influential has Maddie Farrell behind home plate been, calling a fantastic game for the Spartans?
Yeah, it's really impressive. It's cool to see a sophomore come in and kind of control the game as she does. And she's fooled me a couple times. I keep talking about the off speed that Dooley's got. Well, maybe the batters are thinking that too, but Maddie Farrell sends the fastballs up there and they're swinging and missing right through it.
So Elizabeth Diaz will lead it off in the 7th inning. Swinging away. Cortez ranging under it and making the play. 1 pitch, 1 out. Spartans are 2 outs away from victory as Kayla Sheffield step up to the plate next for the Fighting Knights.
Now batting number 17, Kayla Sheffield.
At this point, if you're Lynn, got to be worried because Kaylee Dooley just looks locked in at this point in the
Yeah,
game.
and especially 1 pitch, 1 out. You're only helping the pitcher in that situation as Sheffield takes the first one. But seriously, it only helps Dooley keep herself in a groove. As you see, she's already back on the rubber with an 0-1 count.
Swung on and missed. You've seen it time and time again. 0-2 is the count. Not a position you want to be in when you have the wrath of McKaylee Dooley. Can beat you in a variety of ways. See if she goes off speed or if she stays true with the heat. And the payoff. Spoiled foul. We'll do it again. Sheffield taking her time, getting back in the batter's box. And the pitch outside.
Sheffield reached base back in the second inning via hit by pitch, but she'll go down swinging for the second time tonight. And Dooley is in a groove here for the Spartans, 1 out away from her 6th complete game shutout of the season.
McKaylee Dooley is unstoppable. Fighting Knights down to their last out. It'll be Erin Sunduk trying to rally, keep this alive for the Lynn lineup. But it's been all McKaylee Dooley tonight.
Yeah, and this is right where Dooley wants to be. It's a 7-hitter in the lineup. She's 0 for 2 on the night, as is the 8-hitter and the 9-hitter. So Dooley's going to keep dominating, in my best estimate.
Combined 7 hits by both teams. So Alexa and Dooley have both been phenomenal. That one is taken. Count goes 1-1. The crowd can feel it. On the verge to victory are the Spartans. 1-1 on its way from Dooley. Swung on and missed. And now the Fighting Knights are down to their last strike. Dooley has so many options in her arsenal right here, what to go to. Can do, as you said, a waste pitch perhaps, try to get him to bite. We'll see. The 1-2. Taken high, 2-2 the count.
There it is, that famous waste pitch to sit at 2-2 count now. But she's still in the driver's seat, as McKaylee's looking for the complete game shutout in back-to-back games.
2-2 on its way from McKaylee Dooley. She gone! That is your ball game, folks. The Spartans win a 1-0 game. They advance to 15-9 on the season, and more importantly, 6-4 in Sunshine State Conference. The Lynn Fighting Knights move to 15-11 and 5-5 in Sunshine State Conference play. Really, from the start, Dom, it was all McKaylee Dooley tonight.
All McKaylee Dooley. That was how we painted it in the opening, and that's the way it came through in the game. She had 9 Ks on the evening and back-to-back complete game shutouts for McKaylee Dooley. She's been an impressive pitcher to watch this year in the circle, and I can only think it'll keep continuing, as tomorrow we'll have a doubleheader beginning at 1 p.m., and I assume that in one of the 2 games we'll probably see McKaylee out there again. But tonight was a key matchup and a key victory for the Spartans to get Game 1 in the series, a big conference series against a rival opponent in Lynn University. They were both tied for 3rd in conference, and this was a huge win to start the weekend and hopefully take the series ultimately.
No doubt about it. It really helps your confidence when you go into this doubleheader, having the victory in the night before. Signing off for Dom Galone, I'm Connor Moore. Thanks again for joining us. We will see everybody back here tomorrow, 1 o'clock. It's the same 2 teams for a day doubleheader. Thanks again. Have a good night, folks. Take care.